Hi, and welcome to all of our followers. My name is Stephanie Matza. Today I want to be talking to you about the importance of an attorney. So a lot of the times we get these questions that say, look, I'm filling out the I-130, I have this small question, I have to do this, I have to do that, and small questions related to particularly the family-based petitions, right? And the question is always, do I really need an attorney for this? Is it only form filling? Does the attorney only form fill? The short answer is obviously no. We're with you throughout the process. And the reason that an attorney is important because this is a very long process that can really affect and have repercussions for the rest of your life, right? So at the beginning, we want to accompany you so we can make sure that all of the documentation that's being presented is the documentation that the official wants. This already is a process that you're looking into. This is a long-term process, especially when we're looking at long-time permanent residency based on a family-based petition. This is something that you're looking at least a year and a half to 2 years. That can quickly become 2.5 years if we're not presenting the type of documentation that the official wants from the beginning, if we're not filling the forms correctly, if we're not guiding you in how to get the evidence, how to present the evidence, how to basically show your official or show the officer that this case is really what it is. I usually like to tell the individual, the second you're considering this, have a consultation with an attorney. We'll be there every step of the way to make sure not only that you're doing everything correctly, but more importantly that you're documenting everything correctly. Let's say, for instance, the question is always, well, do I present evidence that the marriage is real from the beginning or from the end in a petition of an I-130 where you're requesting your spouse, a U.S. citizen, for example? The question is, do I have to show photos? Do I have to show affidavits? What kind of evidence do I have to present? That's where we come in. We tell you, look, this is in our experience what we have seen and what's effective. This is what we can show to the immigration officer to be able to document really your career and what we like to call the story of us, how we got here, how we're here, how we got married, how we got engaged. All of that story has to be documented on paper, right? And my job really as your attorney is to show you this is the type of evidence immigration wants based on my own personal experience and based on experience that I've seen with other clients. If you don't turn in one document, perhaps, or if you're missing the mark on the type of documentation you're providing, then that could lead to what's known as a request for evidence. The request for evidence is just going to make this case take so much longer for you guys. This is going to be a situation where you were waiting for 8, 9, 10 months for a response from an officer. Then this officer is requesting a piece of evidence that it turns out you had this entire time, but you did not know that you needed to present. That's the useful thing about working with an attorney. Imagine when you're responding to this request for evidence, you're adding another 8, 10 months on top of this. So if you're presenting everything from the beginning and in the correct way, you won't have to lead to that extended process of a request for evidence, more requests for evidence, more questions from the officer. Another important step, apart from the documentation, right, is the presentation of the interview. So at some point in this process, there may in fact be an interview. It depends, it's a case-on-case basis. But for many of the cases, there's going to be an interview. When you have the interview, it's important to know, not go in cold, to know what is this officer going to ask me? Do I have to go with my spouse? Do I not? Do I have to go with anyone else? Is there anything I should take? How do I present myself? How do I dress? How do I look? What do I say? All of these questions are going to be important. And all of these questions are questions that your attorney can discuss with you. If we're going into this and we're saying, look, we're going to this cold and the officer is asking me questions that I didn't expect, and any of these questions are asked in wrong, again, that can lead to another request for evidence. That can lead to even a notice of intent to deny, a notice of intent to revoke. And this could cause you problems, really cause you stress. A lot of the times I tell my individuals, look, if you're going to go with an attorney, this is taking a big stress off of you. I'm helping you, I'm guiding you along the way. This is a long process. You don't have to be on top of the calendar and the times because I am. I'm on top of everything for you and I'm letting you know, listen, this is the time where you're going to present this. When the officer asks you this, be ready. I'm going to help you and I'm going to give you almost a fake interview. I'm going to tell you, look, this is what the kind of thing that the officer is looking for. Be ready to answer these types of questions. And this is the thing that you're going to want to know, and this is the reason to have an attorney with you. I always like I said from the beginning, to be with you guys from the beginning. If you're already married and you're considering starting this process, I like to be with you from the beginning. If you haven't gotten married yet, but it's in the plans, wedding is booked, wedding venue is booked, call us so we can make sure that you have documented that you have booked that wedding venue in the right way and we can present that to immigration. I'll give you a quick anecdote. Right now we're seeing situations where individuals are applying for citizenship, U.S. citizenship, and this is an individual who perhaps has been in the United States for 15 years. And they thought everything they did was correct, and they did every step of the way. They hit the calendar, they hit the times, they hit the marks, they presented all the documentation. When it comes to U.S. citizenship, right now we're seeing a tendency that all officials or all officers are looking back and reviewing your entire immigration history at the time of application for U.S. citizenship, something that we're seeing with much more frequency in the last 2 months, roughly. Right now, we have a situation, for example, of an individual who did not have an attorney, did his process, now applied for U.S. citizenship. And as it turns out, his U.S. citizenship is being denied, and that leaves his green card sort of in limbo because there was one box on one form of the I-485 that was not checked, and it should have been. So this is something that if you're not doing the right thing the entire time, it can come back to bite you even as far as at U.S. citizenship phase, which tends to be, in the minds of someone, the easiest phase. But really, any sort of mistake throughout the entire process can affect you in the future. So that's really the reason to be able to work with an attorney. We'd love to work with you guys. If you have any questions, or if you want to go ahead and contract our services or ask any questions in our consultation, we're going to go ahead and discuss a timeline and a plan for you. If you're ready to do that, go ahead and contact us, info@beltranbrito.com, or feel free to contact us on our platforms, YouTube, Instagram, social media. Thank you.